So, yeah. So, yeah. So, be creative and have fun with it, whatever you're doing. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I mentioned yesterday that I wanted you to go in and check out the announcements. I have a bunch of announcements in there, and there's some material for you. Did either one of you go in and check the announcements yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you see the links? I left some links to the lynda.com. Did you see them at all, Robert?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Were you able to access them?
I didn't try that.
Okay. I'd like you to try. Hi, Brittany. How are you?
Give me a minute.
Hi, I'm doing good.
Great. How are you doing so far? Go ahead, Robert. I'm sorry. What?
I told Brittany, I'll see.
So check out the links for me. I'm going to be doing I'm going to be going over a couple of videos tonight. I put the links to the videos in so you can go back and look at them again. I think they're kind of important. I'm not entirely sure what videos they have listed in here for you and whether they overlap with the videos that I chose. I did choose a couple of videos that I thought were very good and helpful for where we are with this. Basically, my goal is to try to give you more experience with programs like Illustrator, InDesign, and Photoshop, and kind of get you sort of a little bit clearer on why we choose the application that we choose at the time we choose it to do the work. There's very specific things that each one of these programs should be used for. And we have to become aware of this, and we have to start acting accordingly. You know what I mean? Like when we do certain types of work, we should be working in Adobe Illustrator without a doubt. Then there's other types of work that we should be working in Adobe Photoshop without a doubt. And then there's other things that we do which really require Adobe InDesign. So, we have to know when and where to use the programs. Very important that we do this. I can't tell you the number of times I've had students working on objects that we were working on in class that should have been done in Illustrator, and they're working on it in Photoshop because they feel most comfortable. Well, that's okay if you feel comfortable with it, but the important thing is, as a graphic designer, when you get hired on a job, the people that hire you are going to expect you to know what programs to use and when to use them. So I'm kind of a stickler on that because I want to help you be aware of, when you're using the program, why you're using the program, and how you're using the program. It's kind of important that we kind of understand that. I'm sure to some degree you understand that, but it's very important for everybody to really be clear on that. There's vector work, and vector work should be done in Illustrator. Can you do stuff in Photoshop that's vector oriented? Sure you can. It definitely, but that's not the place that it's usually done. And in Photoshop, or in Illustrator, can you work on bitmaps? You can work on bitmaps to some degree in Illustrator, but it's just not the way to go. Can you do layouts? You can do, in Illustrator, you can do layouts of all kinds. And actually, if you really want to know the truth, you could do layouts in Photoshop as well. And you can create PDFs in Illustrator, and you can create PDFs in Photoshop. And in certain instances, you might be able to get away with working in those programs and producing a piece that gets printed. But is it the right way to go? Not really. When you work on layouts, you work in InDesign. So, again, you can combine images together to create a complex image. And in the case of what we're working on here, why we're working in Illustrator is because we're trying to learn Illustrator. That's essentially what this is all about. We're trying to learn more about Illustrator. Let me ask you guys this. Have you guys been to the same classes together, or are you coming from different classes? Do you recognize each other from other classes? Brittany, Donna, and Robert?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
No? So you're coming from different classes. Do you guys have all of you had some experience with the 3 programs I just mentioned, Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign in the courses so far?
Yes,
Okay. A lot or just the beginning?
a lot.
Oh, good. Okay. What would you say out of the 3 was the ones that you've encountered the most through the courses?
Illustrator and InDesign.
Oh, okay. So Photoshop, not so much?
No, not so much.
Oh,
In the
interesting.
beginning it was, yes.
Oh, in the beginning. Okay. But well, you know, I guess the thing is that I find this is a 200 level course, so it's a little bit different than the normal course. I've handled a lot of 100 level courses. A lot of the people in the 100 level courses have very little experience with these programs, very little, you know, so I would say that they probably kind of push Illustrator and InDesign because I found that many of these people, even if they are in the 100 level courses, it's kind of surprising the number of people that kind of do know a little bit about Photoshop but don't really know very much about Illustrator or InDesign. And I've met a lot of people that tend to shy away from Illustrator. Not so much InDesign, but Illustrator. Many people that I've come across don't even know what InDesign is. They just have no concept of what that is and what it's used for, you know. Each one of these programs, it's like Dreamweaver. It's another program. Dreamweaver is another program that has a very specific usage, you know. And all these other programs, InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, they all have their unique usage. Illustrator and Photoshop primarily feed into InDesign and Dreamweaver. Many of the visual aspects of those programs that you're working on projects in require you to work in Illustrator and Photoshop. As a matter of fact, we probably are going to be, next week, when we come in next week, one of the things that we're going to be working on will be a trifold brochure. When we work on that trifold brochure, we'll be going in and we'll be taking a look at some things in Adobe Photoshop. Not that we really are going to edit very much, but there's some aspects of preparing an InDesign file for print production, which primarily is what you do with InDesign. InDesign is primarily an application where you do layouts for print production. So there are certain things that you have to know how to check to make sure they're in the proper state before you package them and send them on. I assume all 3 of you guys have worked with somebody in one of your courses where you worked on InDesign documents, correct? Have you guys packaged yet? Have you done a packaging with the InDesign, anybody?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So you kind of know what that's all about and why that's important. All right. So is there any questions about what we covered last night? Anything at all that you want to ask me or talk about? Is there any problems with anything? How about the discussions? Any questions at all, or anything you want to bring up at this point? Not really?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay. Have you guys started your assignment? Or have you thought about it?
I'm working on it.
Oh, okay.
Just looking for images.
You're looking for images?
Yeah.
All right. You need any help? You okay with it? You okay with the images? Are you able to locate what you're interested in finding?
So far, yes.
Oh, okay. If you need any suggestions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you in any way I can, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, so, you know, again, go by the 2 examples that I showed you. My example, which is probably like the more complex of the examples, and then the Simon example that I showed you, which is a little bit simpler. You can find your place anywhere in that range. You can go as far as you feel like pushing yourself, or keep it as simple as you want. You know, if you want to make some kind of a pull-out block, like a shape, and then you want to drop several lines of type over top of it and include a couple of stick figure type figures, fine. You know, just make sure that you understand what you're doing is you're preparing a poster. So, you know, think of the principles of design with this. This isn't just an An infographic, it is an infographic, but it's a poster as well. You know what I mean? It's something that would be produced and you'd want to hang it on the wall and look at it. So think about that when you do it. This is really kind of like a poster, infographic combination type of thing. Hi, Dallas. How are you doing? Did I say that right, Dallas? You there? Want to turn your mic on? You can. Let me see something here. I don't have any of you muted, do I? You guys are muting yourself. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that it's not me that's doing it. All right. All right. So then if there's nothing, no questions, no issues, no problems, what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be going over the assessment, our first assessment, which is visual choices. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. What I did, though, on mine is I highlighted what I believe are some of the key points here. We sometimes fail to see the power of our choices in shaping how the message is perceived. So again, what that means is that, you know, you're there, you're interpreting something that you are, the information that you're giving, you're interpreting that, and you're shaping it into a message. And how well you perceive what you're getting fed and how well you interpret that will determine how well your message is received. So it's very important for you to pretty much understand what it is what the parameters are that you're being given, what it is that you're being offered, and what range you have. This next line I think is very important. Text is only a part of the total message. I should sort of turn that around. People tend to not realize, unless they are specifically given text, that text is part of the message. Now, if you were to take a look at this assessment, visual impact of visual choices, if you were to look at this, nowhere does it tell you to specifically incorporate text. Now, I've been in the Blackboard Collaborate Center, and I've had a number of students in this course come into me. This is the first time I taught this course, frankly. But I had a number of students that came in, and none of them had text on their graphic. And I said, you know, you can use text, and they thought they couldn't. And, you know, you have to understand what you're doing. You're doing graphic design. One of the elements of graphic design is text. And even if you don't have text given to you, doesn't mean that you can't come up with something. What I did in mine, which I'll show you shortly, I actually did come up with text. I created it myself. It's not essentially a poem. It's more of a thought. And it's based on the information that I was given. And it's because I'm a graphic designer, and I realized that part of graphic designing includes text. So, you know, what I'm saying to you is when you do your creations here, this is actually a pretty difficult assignment because it kind of gets you into a position where you have to take really diverse or really disjointed information and form it into a cohesive unit, a complete cohesive thought. I even found it difficult to do, to be totally honest with you. You know, I look at what I did and I thought, well, you know, it's a solution. Is it the best solution? No. If I had a good bit more time to play with it, I'm sure I would probably be able to make it into a much better solution. As a matter of fact, I was playing around. I think I demonstrated last night what it was going to be. I showed you last night. I looked at it today and I thought there's a couple of weak spots, and I decided to go in and fool around and make them things look a little bit better. So it's that kind of a thing. You're going to probably find that as you create stuff, you may have an initial idea, and you may put your idea down on paper, but don't think for 1 minute that if you go away and come back like a day later and look at it, you may look at this and say, you know, there's holes in this. There's areas of weakness in this, and maybe I could make this thing look a little bit better by doing this or by doing that. This is all part of the process. So remember, you know, when you're working as a graphic designer, Text is a very important part of the whole picture. Images are, color, layout, line, texture, all these things are important when you work with a graphic design. So don't be afraid to incorporate text into your visual message, okay? Last assignment, you were supplied text. So you have no choice but to use text there. Here, you don't really. You don't really have any text given to you. So all I'm saying to you is that use your imagination. Come up with something that helps support the premise that you're working with. We'll get into that in a minute. And is this making sense to you guys? Do you understand what I'm saying here? It's kind of important that you do.
Yes.
Yeah. Just keep in mind,
Yeah.
you're a graphic designer. You have certain elements that you look for. You look for text. You look for that. You look for visuals, graphics, illustrations, photos, something. You look for some sort of a textural, you color, line, and then, of course, you supply layout. And then, of course, now you get into the principles of design, right? And I know you all know the principles of design. I'm sure they've talked to you about this before, correct? You guys know the principles of design, CRAP principles, contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity. You all know that, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with those principles? I mean, do you understand what they really are about? Do you feel you are?
I sometimes have problems with it.
Keep in mind that aside from the CRAP principles, there's also type, images, color, texture, line, and space. Those are also principles of design. They're not the CRAP principles of design, but they are also principles of design. So whether or not anybody's ever talked to you about this before, you're hearing it from me. All right, so text is only part of the message, or visuals are only part of the message. It isn't just the pictures and colors that count. Typographic choice, even the location and means of production matter. What this is all about is basically, you know, remember that you're going to try to include typography. Again, you're trying to create a visual message. Nobody is going to tell you that you can't use text in this. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably a really good idea that you incorporate text. It could tie your whole thing together. I have no idea what you're going to come up with, but one of the things that when I was working on mine, one of the things that I did was I basically incorporated text into it because I felt that it was necessary for me to get part of the message across that way. And you'll see in a minute when we look at mine what I'm talking about, where it came from. Also, production matters. Keep in mind that even though these things now are going to be assignments for your class, they may end up in a portfolio. They may end up being a portfolio pieces. Have you guys all done things so far that you're proud of? Somewhere in the courses that you've taken, have you guys done things that you're proud of that you would put in a portfolio to show people?
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can't not be. There's got to be something that you did that impresses you, that you say to yourself, wow, I did really well with this, right? Well, you know, again, that's what your goal is here. But when you get out and you get working, that goal will change. You're not really looking for a portfolio piece. You're looking to do a really good job for whoever's paying you. And you're trying to really impress them and do something phenomenal, obviously, because you want them to keep you and you want them to give you more money and want to keep you. Now, obviously, if you succeed in doing something really good, obviously you end up with a portfolio piece. I mean, there's just no way around that. So that's part of the process, yes. But in the real world, it's more, I say survival, but it's not exactly survival. It's growth. It's growth, and it's becoming part of the process. In other words, you're working with a company, and you go in, you start working with them. You prove that over time and through the course of projects you work on, you prove to them that you have the right stuff. And then, of course, you become part of that process. They wouldn't do without you because you've time and time again have come in and have given them good solutions. So this is really what your ultimate goal is. These courses that you go through are really just opportunities for you to sit down and play around with the programs, learn things, have different instructors get in front of you and react to you, and you react to them differently, and learn what it's going to be like in the real world. Because believe me when I tell you, you're going to go through, I've been doing this, I hate to say this, but I've been doing this since 1971. And I cannot tell you the number of people I've worked for, all sorts of different personalities. Some people were so nice, some people were outright monsters. And, you know, you have to be able to learn, and you have to be able to thrive and survive through all of that. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to get into a situation where you'll burn out. Now, I'm not going to ask you to name any names or anything, but I'm sure that you've all been through enough instructors that you could say there's probably some you like and probably some you didn't like. Is that fair to say that?
Yes.
Yeah. And what I'm saying to you is that that is in a very isolated manner, a very isolated way, sort of an indication of what life will be when you get out in the real world. You may get lucky and you may get one job and you may stay in that one job for your entire career. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but you may find too that you'll go out and you'll work for a number of different people who will have different personalities. And, you know, you as a designer have to be able to thrive in that diversity. That's something that's very important for you to deal with. So, you know, going through a school situation like this where you're dealing with different instructors, they have, every one of these instructors, including myself, has a wealth of experience we've been through. And every single one of us, I have no doubt in my mind, every single one of us is trying to help you and trying to show you things. I have no idea. Robert, I think you are, Donna, Brittany, and Dallas. Have any of you ever dealt with me before? Anywhere, including Blackboard?
No.
No. Robert has, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Blackboard.
You've been into me Blackboard. Did I? And you can be honest with me. Seriously, the one thing I want all of you to understand is you can be honest with me. I won't hold anything against you, and I won't feel in any way, shape, or form flustered. When you came into Blackboard, did I ever give you a problem? Did I ever make you feel after you left, this guy is no good, this guy's not, you know, there to help me?
Never.
Never. Well, I mean, if you're being truthful, and I assume that you are, because again, I say, if you did not, because I've had people come in and not like me, and I've even had arguments with people because they came in with some sort of baggage that had nothing to do with me, and we ended up getting into a dispute which led to an argument, you know? But I'm basically there, just like I'm here, to help you in any way that I can. You know, I try to show you things, hoping that, not knowing any of you and not knowing what any of you know, I try to show you things that will make you more adept at doing the work in my class, but in any class that comes along. Because if you learn something here with me, you're not going to just be applying it here with me. You'll be applying it other places as well. I'm sure that you can see for yourself that as you've gone through this course and learned things, you're now applying some of the things that you've learned in other classes in future classes. Because there's a lot of similarity between the things that you do. I mean, these programs do very specific things. Illustrator does very specific set of things. Photoshop does very specific things. InDesign, very specific things. So, you know, you may go from this class to that class to that class, and you're working on different assignments, but the programs don't change. It's not like every time you go into a program, there's a new program. It's the same program, right? You recognize that, right? So you're doing a lot of the things kind of over, and that's not a bad thing. That's the way life is. You'll go on a job, and very quickly you'll see the nature of the work. And I'm talking about like if you start a new job, you go somewhere, you're going to be doing some sort of graphic design for somebody. The first thing that you're going to notice when you get in there is that there's a certain group of things that you're going to be doing. And there'll be certain things which will be different, but then there'll be certain things that will begin to repeat. And you'll see that there are certain things that are getting done over and over and over again. So as you go along doing that, you can begin to set up sort of shortcuts and things that you can do to sort of make your work a little easier as it comes along. That's not necessarily going to happen here, but the reason that happens is because the programs do very specific things. So that's a very important thing that I just want to make sure that I let you know. All right, so let's go a little bit further with this. So anyway, I didn't have any other points on this that I highlighted, but you are going to be basically creating this infographic again that will show how this person, what's his name? What the heck's his name? Wally. Wally, what a name, right? Wally, he has this girlfriend. They've been around each other for about 4 years, something like that. They met while they were roller skating. They are both 23. They met when they were 18. They love pepperoni pizza and root beer, and Marina loves daisies. So really, they're giving you some very odd things to deal with. And that's the frustrating part of this, is that, you know, it's very difficult. So we got another person here, Jess. How you doing, Jess? How are you tonight?
All right.
Jess, have you ever been in Blackboard or in a class of mine before?
Yes.
What, Blackboard?
Yeah, I met you on Blackboard.
Okay.
Youth.
As I was saying to Robert also met me in Blackboard. When you've been, and again, I expect total honesty out of you. You don't ever have to worry about saying anything negative or positive to me. Be honest. That's what I want. When you came into Blackboard, did I ever do, in any way, shape, or form, did I ever not try to be helpful?
No. I mean, you were really helpful.
Okay. That's me. That's just who I am. So I say this because I want everybody in my class to know this. I try to be available as much as possible. You have a way to get in touch with me, email, phone number. I am in Blackboard. I believe I'll be in Blackboard this mod too on Wednesday evenings and Saturdays. That information can be found in the announcements. And also, I think I might have put it into my instructor's information. I don't know. I might not have. But anyway, it's in the announcements. The important thing about this is that basically I need you guys to realize that you can come to me anytime you want, and you can ask me to clarify anything you want. You can ask me to critique something before you submit it. If you're working on something and you have a question in your mind about a direction that you're going in and you don't want to waste a lot of time doing something and then finding out that you did it wrong, which I'm not that bad of a person with that either. I'll work with you. Feel free to reach out to me, okay, either through email, phoning at times. I can't guarantee 100% of the time I'll respond to a phone, but email, I definitely respond quickly. And feel free to stop in Blackboard the nights that I'm there. I'm more than happy to take a look at what you're doing and assist you in any way. If there's something that I demonstrate that you don't quite understand, reach out to me and I will either do one of two things. I will either produce a little mini video demonstration. I don't know, have any of you guys been to my YouTube site yet? Has anybody gone to my YouTube site?
Not yet.
No one?
No, not yet.
Oh, all right. Well, if you go to my YouTube site, you're going to see two things. You're going to see the course instructions, but you're also going to see a whole bunch of little tiny 3-minute, 5-minute short video clips showing me doing very specific things. What I generally do is I generally do one of two things. I either create a video when I have a number of students who come up with the same question or the same issue with a particular thing they're working on. I generally do a very short breakout kind of video that I put up on YouTube, and I alert the students to go look at it. So if that happens here, if there's something that you're working on that, or something I show you that you're not quite getting, I would probably go in and create a tiny video just demonstrating that one little thing. Because I understand, too, that this is a 2-hour course, and last night was a 2-hour course. And, you know, you have to sit and watch the 2-hour course. And then if there's something that I did that you're interested in doing, you have to figure out where it is in that 2-hour course, and you have to be able to quickly go back to it and watch it as many times as you need to get the gist of it. Whereas if it's something that's one singular little thing, I could easily create a little YouTube video that I put online. That accomplishes two things. Number one, it gives me the opportunity to help you out, but since it's a video, it's now permanent, it's on my YouTube, anybody else can look at it as well. And if I run into a situation anywhere else where I'm coming up against the same issue, I can direct them to that video. So again, I don't mind doing this. I just need to know when there's an issue with some particular thing, and then I will do it. All right, so, you know, they met roller skating. They are both currently 23. They met when they were 18. Both love pepperoni pizza, root beer. Marina loves daisies. Wally wants at least 15 ways he loves Marina on the graphic. That I don't even know what they're talking about. I have no clue as to what that means. Wally wants at least 15 ways he loves Marina on the graphic. So I don't know. All I can say to you is that with that particular one, let me see your creativity with that. Let me see what you come up with for 15 ways to love Marina on the graphic, because I have no clue. I'm looking at what he's got here, and I don't know what he even, I wouldn't even know how to begin to give him 15 ways he loves her on the graphic. What do you guys think? Do you guys got any ideas on that? Anybody?
Yeah, I started something.
So want to quickly give us a rough idea of what they are? I'm curious. Just curious, not a problem.
Just relationship-wise.
Oh, okay. So you're going to basically put some sort of a listing of things that would be personal to them or unique to them?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it suggests to me. I just don't know exactly what it would be. But anyway, okay. So that's that. Those are your parameters. Very important that you have these elements. Now, I've created a graphic, which I'm going to demonstrate a little later on tonight. I'm going to go through and show you some of the things that I did. Hopefully, I'll be able to show you within that something that you don't know already. All right, so now you're going to create a one-page infographic graphic to help Wally out. And the requirements are one page only, should be a strong presentation taking up the full page. So, yeah, you want to basically use the full page. Now, again, remember the principles of design. You know, positive, negative space. You know what positive and negative space is. You can use negative space just because it says take up the full page. I mean, you don't have to just literally load that page up with stuff to beat the band, to be crazy. You know, I mean, there's a very tasteful and very good design way of utilizing negative space. And I just want you to keep that in mind, because I think a lot of people have trouble understanding positive and negative space. It's one of the hard ones. And even I've had some instructors who I looked at something that, in Blackboard, for instance, and I'm not naming names here, I'm just saying generally, there's been times in Blackboard where students have come in with an assignment they were working on that, in my opinion, had fine negative space. When I say negative space, space where nothing is going on, just air. You know what I'm talking about, people? When I say negative space, air, blank area?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. And the instructor was calling the student on it. So, you know, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I'm not the instructor, and I really have to try to respect what the instructor is telling the student to do. So, you know, I did my best to try to help the student under those circumstances. But so, you know, again, make use of the full page, make it a visual, make it an infographic, okay? This is not a poster, it's an infographic. But you know what? If you remember what we talked about last week, to some degree, an infographic is kind of like an advertisement or a poster. I mean, it really is. The whole thing is built into a complete idea, a complete story. So it's really important for you to utilize the page to create this entire story for them, okay? And this is something that I think a couple of you had some issues with. Provide citations for graphics you take from other places. In other words, list where you got them. When you go in, every one of us, including me, every one of us will go online and we will research specific things. One of the things I can tell you right off the bat that I researched, I went in and I researched pepperoni pizza. And I researched root beer, because I wanted to see if I looked for root beer, what would come up. And I found something that I thought was pretty interesting. And I'm going to show you how I modified that to go into Illustrator later. Because again, I want you to realize that there's a power to Illustrator. And you need to be able to, get a hold of that power. And it's the same thing with the pepperoni pizza. I went in and I found something that I thought was really good for pepperoni pizza. And I'm going to show you how I modified that. But it wasn't enough that it isn't enough that you just take the pictures from online. What you should do is you should take the email address, and if there's a name, like a title for the particular page that you're on where you got this, put the title and put the email address in form of a citation so that you actually have a list. And here, let me show you. These are some of mine. See? These are some of my citations. Many of these were just pictures that came up, so they didn't have a title. So what I did essentially was I gave it a title, Kissing Silhouette. And then there is my link. If I click on this link, watch when I click on this link, there it is. There's my picture. And as a matter of fact, that is the picture that I used in my piece. And actually, I'm wrong. It's actually Polyvore. I could have used Polyvore instead of Kissing Picture. Pretty in Pink Pearl, Kissing Silhouette Images. I could also use that from myprettypinkpearl.blogspot.com. All right, so that's also a legitimate reference. Any of these would be good references. I just simply use my link. So you guys understand that when I say this? Whatever image you take off the internet here, and keep in mind, you're not reselling this. This is something that you're doing for a school assignment. The most that you'll ever end up doing with this is putting it in a portfolio. Like, that's really about it. So, you've got a little bit of leeway with this, but, usually when you're working on graphic assignments, you just don't go online and steal people's work. And that's not what we're intending to do here. What we're trying to do is we're trying to be creative and utilize assets that we find. That's why it's also important for us to reference things. So does that make sense to you guys? Do you understand why I'm asking for the citations, the referencing? And so it's not that big of a deal. You guys be able to do it without a problem?
Yes.
Okay. So again, this is all I did is I basically just put my, you can see I got Root Beer Heart Pizza, Daisy 1, Daisy 2, Skate, all the different things that I came up with. All right, so I'm not going to show this. I'm not going to go and show you all these links because you know what we're talking about. We're just basically giving me an idea of where you went to get these images because obviously, you're really creating something from these assets. All right? All right, so that's that. And I don't think there's anything else to talk about here. Oh yeah, you'll be graded on creativity, effectiveness, originality, and ease of understanding. So I think the biggest one there for us to worry about is ease of understanding. Now, you can look at mine, and I am very open to you telling me whether or not you think there's any ease of understanding to mine. Okay? Again, I'm not afraid. I'm not saying mine is the most the most genius of pieces. You'll see it when it comes up. You'll see what it is, and you'll decide for yourself. I tried to be interesting in a visual way with mine. That's what I tried to be, and hoped that when I created mine in as interesting way as I possibly could, that would sell it. Is it easy to understand? To be totally honest with you, I think, going back to what I said at the very beginning, I think ease of understanding is going to be the hardest part of this project, is making it easy to understand, Being creative, I don't know. I guess you can be creative. I tried to be creative, and I think I was fairly successful at being creative with it. Effective, I mean, visually effective, yeah, I think visually it is effective. It kind of works. That's what, when you think of effectiveness, is it effective? Does it work? I think mine sort of did. Is it original? To some degree it's original, although it sort of makes me think, when I look at mine, it sort of makes me think of the 60s and 70s. I kind of get a 60s and 70s kind of feel from it. Ease of understanding, that one I'm not sure. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not really, sure about that. As far as looking for examples of infographics on the web, yeah, I would say that that's probably a good thing to do. But when you're working with something like this particular project, I really don't think you're going to find very much that will help you to come up with something that's infographic-y in this particular case. Maybe the better way to go, if you are going to be looking for some sort of an idea, maybe heading more in the direction of postcards, something like that, you know, because it sort of seems like a gift card or a postcard or a, you know, a card of affection or something. That might be a little bit better in this case, although to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to be that much help. I really think you're kind of on your own with this, and it all just comes down to you finding interesting elements and weaving them together into something that's visually beautiful, that's something that's visually effective, that's fun to look at. If you go back to what they were talking about last night, you know, this should be something that the person is going to enjoy looking at and get into looking at. Unlike a PowerPoint where you've got a whole bunch of different slides and you can put bits of information in front of people, one after another, here you've got one thing. And you kind of leave it to the person's imagination, not so much as imagination, but they're sort of left to kind of make up their own mind about it. Does that make sense? And do you remember we talked about that last night? Anybody that was here?
Yes.
So that's, I think, the way you want to go with this is, it doesn't give you a specific file format to upload here. I'm a little bit file upload. I guess the bottom line is submit a PDF. All right, everybody, you'll submit this as PDF. And I guess what I'll do is I'll go in later on and I'll see if I can change this submitting a file upload. I'm not going to do it now, but I'll go in later if I can and change this to say submit a PDF. All right, so you guys will submit a PDF, please?
Yes.
All right. So one more thing. Any questions or any comments you want to make before we go ahead?
You're gonna have, is the link to the Zoom, is it working?
I've had a couple of people now tell me that it didn't work. So I'm going to go in and see if you got in, I guess, by using my numbers, right? My ID.
I took underneath that where it says copy and paste up in the browser.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see if I can get the link straightened out. But at any rate, you were able to get in because you had the number. I put the number there. But the link should work. I'll check it. I'll check that as well. As a matter of fact, give me a second here, and I'll make a note to that. Check Zoom link. Okay. All right, I got it. And also submitting. Submitting, specify PDF. Okay, this way I got them and I won't forget. All right, any other questions or any other thoughts or any other things you want to mention before we move ahead? So, were you going to say something?
No questions.
Okay. All right, so lynda.com, night 2. This is the link. I already have the video up. There's like 3 little videos. They're not more than 5 minutes a piece, so it's not like they're very long. The infographic that shows Wally counts his ways for Sweetheart Marina. Here is the basic data. We've been through this already. Choose to represent your own interpretation of the data, or you may choose to provide information in an interactive fashion that allows the viewer to do their own experimentation, their own visualization, and form their own conclusions. So ultimately, that's what's really most important here, is that you allow them to form their own conclusions if you can, okay? So the video, you get this out, and you go back up here. There's the video. And this is basically, this is, again, I don't know what videos they have in here for you. I've given you a link to these videos if you want to go back and look at these videos again. I picked these particular videos to demonstrate in class because I liked them. I thought that they were, even in the very briefest way, I thought they were helpful. So this is one of my choices.
In the previous movie, we discussed 4 steps in developing a compelling story for an infographic. One of those being data visualization, or data viz for short. There's an important distinction between visualizing data and presenting data. Difference will help you craft the perfect infographic. Imagine you're a chef charged with preparing a scrumptious dinner for an important guest. You walk into the supermarket with just about every ingredient possible before you. How do you decide what to serve for dinner? What appetizers will you prepare? How about the entree? And how will you cap the meal with a perfect dessert? You immediately start to envision different combinations of ingredients. What foods will complement each other? At this stage, you don't yet know what the final result will be, but you're already picking up ingredients and searching for inspiration, trying to imagine how you might combine different ingredients, spices, or flavors to create that perfect meal. You're visualizing the possibilities, experimenting until you've made a decision. Now, fast forward a few hours and it's now dinner time. You've already explored all the options and have made decisions. You're about to present the meal that you've prepared. When you're developing an infographic, visualizing data is a powerful way to find compelling stories to tell. Experimenting with different ways to view your data is essential because it reveals patterns that you might not see otherwise. Seeing your story from multiple points of view can also help prove that your findings or interpretations are correct. Perhaps most importantly, it helps you find the very best way to present your data. Speaking of presenting data, what your final infographic portrays, the story that it tells, is completely up to you. In other words, you can choose to present your own interpretation of the data, or you may choose to provide information in an interactive fashion that allows the viewer to do their own experimentation, their own visualization, and form their own conclusions. It's true that data viz is something that is usually associated with big data, large companies like IBM or Amazon.com that attempt to interpret huge sets of data, like tracking the spread of diseases worldwide or making recommendations based on previous purchases. While that's true, don't forget that data viz is also useful when building individual infographics. Use it to your advantage.
Okay. Now, I just want to show you something really quickly here. I'm going to go into, let me get this out of the way. Where is it? Let me see where you're at. Mod 7 DES 240, week 1. Love. Okay. So these are my Adobe Illustrator files where I've actually taken my elements and I've created elements. I've reformed those elements so I could turn them into vector art. But why I'm opening this up is because I wanted to quickly show you this, and that. Those images that you see there are very similar to the left side of that slide where you saw all the different pieces of the puzzle, so to speak, the different ingredients that were used to make the dish. So I'm just opening this up to show you that one of the things that I did before I really started to put my piece together was I went online, go back to my citations, and I located all this stuff right here. And there were all the links to it. This is all the stuff. And then what I did was I went into the Illustrator and I started modifying all this stuff and creating vector form, because every one of these things now are a bitmap. I know they look like black and white line, but you see the file type? What does that file type say? Anybody? What do you see there? File type is what? You see a JPEG. So you know what a JPEG is, right? JPEG is a flattened bitmap. It is not a piece of vector art. So in order for me to take that heart, bring it into Illustrator, I have to convert it to vector art. So everything that you see here in black and white, and even that pepperoni pizza you see there, and the Rowdy root beer can, all of that stuff had to be converted into vector art, which I'm going to show you how to do tonight. That's part of what I'm going to show you, is how to do this. And I'm showing you this because I want you to realize that reason I like that video is because the video demonstrated the process in a very good way, showing the ingredients on the one side and then showing the chef holding the combined meal, the ingredients combined into a meal on the other side. That's what we're doing here. That's what you're doing. You're going to think about your theme, and you're going to think about the component parts that are required for your theme. You're going to go out and you're going to locate those component parts. You could also go to Adobe, I guess, what is it, Adobe Online? Do you know what the proper name of it is? There's a place for vector art or graphic art in Adobe. Do you know what it's called? Is it Adobe Online? Am I right? Anybody? Well, if you don't know, Adobe Online, you can go there, or you can locate the elements on the internet and get the elements and modify them, which is what I did. So that's really what I'm showing you here, okay? Go to lynda.com again, and this is the other one that I'd like to show you, the infographic tool set. Quickly look at this.
Creative folk have been creating all kinds of infographics for hundreds of years. So in reality, all you need is something to write with and something to write on. But in today's world, we have access to a variety of digital tools that make it easier to create and distribute infographics. Here's a list of some applications that you'll find helpful in your work. To be honest, it really doesn't matter which version you have, although newer versions usually contain features that help make your work more efficient. With its built-in graphing functions, powerful vector tools, and decent support for text, Illustrator is the go-to application for creating infographics. You can easily generate output for print or the web, and you can easily export artwork that can be placed into Microsoft Office applications if required. As an alternative to Illustrator, InDesign offers powerful layout and text capabilities, but it's missing any kind of graphing feature. If your infographics are text-heavy, working with InDesign may offer benefits, but you'll likely be using InDesign together with Illustrator, not InDesign instead of Illustrator. If you plan on distributing your infographics via PDF, it's essential that you have Adobe Acrobat Professional. Sure, you can export PDF documents directly from Illustrator or InDesign, but with Acrobat, you can add additional security features, specify how the file initially opens when you click on it. For example, you can have the file automatically open in full screen presentation mode. And you can even add scripts or other interactive features. Now, whether you love working with data or not, you will have to learn to live with Excel. It's the world standard when it comes to working with spreadsheets, and it's the file format that you'll be receiving from clients, coworkers, and when you're downloading data from the internet. Now, if you're just doing an infographic here and there, being familiar with Excel is bonus. But if you're planning on doing a lot of infographics, buckle up and learn as much as you can about Excel. You'll be glad you did. Note that while there are both Mac and Windows versions available, the Windows version usually has features that are not available in the Mac version. For researching and organizing your story, a word processor is key. While you certainly don't have to use Word, really any word processor will do, if you're going to get Excel anyway, you'll probably be getting Microsoft Office, which includes Word, so there's less to think about there. If you're on a Mac, you might want to take a serious look at Apple's Keynote. While I wouldn't use it to create infographics, it's a great tool for storyboarding your infographic. The graphing tools are easy to use and are more capable than those found in Illustrator, and it's easy to organize your data into slides to quickly organize your thoughts. I use it often, and if you have to convert parts of your infographic into a presentation, you're already halfway there. Now, of course, the tools that you use should be the ones that work best for you. Don't be afraid to experiment with mobile apps either. A more efficient workflow means that you'll have more time to spend on developing your story, and that will always be a good thing.
Okay, I'm stopping it right here. There's a couple of things I just want to mention here. First of all, I started off our open session tonight by talking about this very thing, the utilizing of different applications. This is the infographics tool set. What I believe is that this video could be very simply modified to say the graphic design tool set. And the only thing that you would have to do here is maybe get rid of Excel and Keynote and add Photoshop. And this tool set here, and again, I was talking about this in the first, 30 minutes of the live session. I talked about this very topic, utilizing and understanding these programs. These are the programs. These are the programs you need to know as a graphic designer. Infographics is only a subset of graphic design. You must understand that. Infographics isn't a world within itself. It's a subset of a larger area of design known as graphic design. With the exception of something like Microsoft Excel, Keynote, these tools are the same tools that you're going to be working, and Microsoft Word too, because one of the things that I told you about earlier is that you'll be working with type a lot. And what's important to understand is that type will probably come from somebody who's not necessarily a graphic designer. You'll have copywriters that will be working on this, and these copywriters will more than likely just be working with Microsoft Word. It's probably Microsoft Word that they're going to be working on. So when you get text given to you, and I bet you any money, every one of you guys, somebody let me know if I'm right on this, every one of you guys in one of your other classes had to work on something that involved you getting text off of a Microsoft Word document. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say here is that this is infographic, but graphic design. Adobe Illustrator, essential. Adobe InDesign, essential. Acrobat Pro. Well, we probably won't really be doing much with Acrobat Pro here, but it's essential. And Photoshop, they don't mention here, but I will be taking you into Photoshop next week to show you some very simple things that you're going to be able to do to make sure that your files are correct to send to a printer. Microsoft Excel, which we probably aren't going to be dealing with much here. Microsoft Word, we probably won't deal with here either. However, I don't know whether or not you use it when you create your, a lot of people suggest that when you create your discussions, you write it in Word first, and then you cut and paste it into your, again, I don't know how you do it or whether you do it or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Apple Keynote we won't get to. But the information tool set, the infographics tool set and the graphic design tool set are very much the same. And there's only a real slight difference between graphic design in general and infographics in general. Infographics would be part of the greater family of graphic design. So does all that make sense to you, what I just said there? Do you understand where I'm coming from with this?
Yes.
All right. All right, so that's it. Those are my videos. I'm going to ditch out of here for a minute, and I'm going to ditch out of here. I'm going to open up Adobe Illustrator. And this is my graphic for Wally. This is what I did for Wally. And again, as you can see, it's I don't know, it's kind of hacky a little bit, you know. But what it does is it incorporates the symbolism that I think they were looking for. I mean, you can see the daisies, 18 to 23 and forever. Again, I'm using a thought here. They started at 18 to 23 and forever, you know, forever. So in other words, they're saying basically our love will be forever, that kind of a thing. And you'll notice that around the top, I love your rollers. I love you roller skating or not. You love daisies. I love pepperoni pizza and root beer on Fridays. I just love you. So in other words, there's your thought, okay? And the rest of this is just basically taking my elements, the diverse elements, and creating a composition. The composition basically is surrounded by a heart for love. You know, it's that kind of a thing. You'll notice that across the top here, I left this copy so that you could see basically what it is that, you know, I'm going after here. And what I want to do is I want to show you a couple of things before I come in and show you how I put this together. I want to show you a little bit of how I took this artwork and prepared, because you can see all this artwork. Can you tell that all this artwork is vector? Can you tell by re-rolling over this? Do you all understand that this is all vector? Can you see why is it vector? How do you know it's vector?
You have the lines around it.
That's right. So a bitmap, if it were a bitmap, two things would happen. Number one, I would not get those lines around it. And number two, it would have, because a JPEG does not, and it would have probably been a JPEG does not have transparency. So what would happen is instead of this being a silhouette of that in this case, the skate, it would have a white background around it. So what I did essentially was go back to what I was saying to you before. I went in, I got all the work that I was looking for. I got everything I was looking for, all of my elements I was looking for. I first located all of them. And what I would recommend that you do is something very similar, where you go online, and how I did it is I went for vector hearts, I went for daisies, and then vector silhouettes of daisies. I went to silhouettes of kissing couples. I went to daisy silhouettes and pepperoni pizza and rowdy root beer. I looked for root beer. And when I found ones that I liked, and the other thing that I did, guys, and this I suggest to you is, let me just show you real quickly. if I could do this. Let me go to citations here, and let me click on, let's go, what is this one? Let's go to this one. This one's good enough. Let me just go to this one for 1 second. Here's one thing that I wanted you to understand is when you do this, and I didn't get to the right page here. All right, let me do this. Let me close this all together. Close tabs. Let me just open this. All right, give me a second here. Kissing. Now, see, it already came up. Okay? It already came up. There it is. Now, images. Okay, search tools. Again, I'm on a PC. This is the first thing I should tell you. I'm on a PC. Are you guys on PCs? Anybody on a PC there?
No.
You guys are all on Macs?
Yeah.
All right, it's gonna look a little different, so I can't show you, but you still have the same criterias here. The images. Go to size, and I went and I picked 4 megabyte, the biggest images I could find. You understand that? Be very careful that when you go searching for anything, and this applies to the future, anything that you ever want to search, don't just go in and search images. Go in and search any size and go down and locate the largest size that you can search and isolate the largest size that you could search. This way, when you save these files, they're going to be very big. The bigger the file, the easier it is to take it into Adobe Illustrator and trace it. Okay? Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know whether you're aware of that or not, but it's a very important thing to consider when you're actually going in to do something like this. When you have tiny little images, Illustrator has a much harder time giving you a clean trace. The bigger the image, the cleaner your trace is going to be. So keep that in mind when you do this. All right? Go back to Illustrator. All right, let's go back to Illustrator. And I just want to show you a couple of things. Here's my pepperoni pizza. That's my pepperoni pizza. That's my rowdy root beer. That's my simple daisy flower. They look like bitmaps, don't they? What do you think? Do they look like bitmaps to you? Can you tell they're vector art? Anybody?
No.
Okay. If you click on it, it is vector art. You see that? Rowdy root beer. Click on it. It is vector art. Simple daisy. It is vector art. Okay? Now, it didn't start out that way. And that is one of the things that I want to show you first, how to do this. This is phenomenal. You guys are familiar with AutoTrace, right?
Image trace.
Image trace. Yeah, image trace, not AutoTrace. Well, it's AutoTrace, but image trace. This is something that's done with image trace. So let me go to the File menu and let me go Open, and let me go into my Love, and let me find my, let's do the Rowdy root beer can, and let's hit Open. Okay, so now I have my Rowdy root beer can open. You see the black line here? The black line is my artboard. So the artboard, this image is bigger than the artboard. So what I want to do is I want to make the artboard fit the image. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the artboard tool. And I'm going to drag the artboard until it fits the art that's beneath it. You just make it fit, just like that. Whoops. I didn't get it right. Now I got it. Regular selection tool. Now my artboard fits the Rowdy root beer. This is what the bitmap looks like. Now, you see when I click on this, you see how I get just the outline around here? Because it's a bitmap. This is the artwork before I went in and I used image trace to trace this thing. Okay? So I'm going to show you how I get this to look as much like that can as I possibly can. I start off by going Object, Image Trace, Make. And it's a large image, hit OK, no problem. I get this, which is interesting looking, but it certainly isn't going to help me, right? So what I'm going to do is up here, there's an image trace panel. I don't know whether you're aware of that or not. You guys know the image trace panel?
Yes.
You click that, you open the image trace panel up, and you have presets, which I never use. I never use the presets. I basically set my own. Tracing result is what I generally have it set to. You can change it to tracing result with outlines, 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 source image. All of this doesn't help me. Tracing result is the one that I always leave it to. Then you have different modes here. You have color, you have grayscale, you have black and white. Right now the default, and the default usually is, I shouldn't say usually, the default pretty much always is black and white. In this case though, I want a color image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to color. Now, as soon as I do that, you see it's going to automatically go in there and try to apply that thinking, that reasoning to the trace. There you go. And it actually doesn't look too bad, does it? Even though this thing still is a bitmap, it's been traced. You guys understand that? This is showing you what this object is going to look like traced. So what I want to do here is I want to see if I can even make it look better. And what I do is I come to the advanced area. A lot of times the advanced area is like this. If it is, you just click and open it up. And you have paths. You can take your paths and you can bring your paths down lower, but that's not the right direction to go. Watch what happens when I do that. You get this, which just isn't as nice. So what I usually do is I try then pumping the paths all the way up to 100%. Let's see what we get now. Yeah, see, that's much cleaner. You can start reading the text now. It looks much cleaner. Also, the colors. I mean, I can go in here if I want, and I can cut the colors in half. And you see what happens? I lose quite a bit of the colors. So again, in this case, I'm just going to pump it all the way up to 30 and let it go at that. Now the corners, basically, if I drag this down towards less, watch what happens to my render. Well, it didn't hurt it too bad, but I think you probably want your corners to be set to more. So we're going to bring it up to 100% for now. It wasn't that bad with it down though, but I definitely think this is the right direction to take it in. Okay, so you don't see much different with it either way. Then the other thing you can do is, you know, you can increase the noise in it. I don't know that you'd want to do this, but I'll show you what it looks like just to give you an idea what these things do. Trying to give you an idea what they do. There. And you know what? I think it kind of blows out the text a little bit. Let's see if I remove the noise, if it doesn't bring the text back. See, the fine stuff in there, I think, gets washed out because of that. Let's see, by removing that noise, let's see if it cleans it up. Yeah, you see, did you guys see that? Did you see how it cleaned up the text by bringing the noise down?
Yes.
So do you understand what I'm doing with this? I'm taking a bitmap and I'm converting it to a vector. Now, the problem with this is that you're creating a lot of shapes. So that's going to make this thing a big file, big file. But the good thing about this is, and I probably, let's see, do I have the pass too high? Let me go back a little bit on the pass. Give me one more second. Here's the thing that you have to understand. If you need this piece of art to be something that you could use any size, from the size of a postage stamp to it, much better. I was losing some of the stuff on the top there. I might even go back a little bit. More. See, I want that line to be solid up there for a reason. I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about. I'm knocking the paths back slightly for the purpose of getting a real clean edge across. There we go. See that clean edge across the top of the can there? When I had it all the way up to the top, it was starting to wash out. The thing about this is not as good as a photograph. It isn't really quite as good as a photograph, but it's very close. Would you guys say it's reasonably close?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's nice about this is once you do this using this program, this piece of art now is a piece of vector art, and you can make it any size you need to make it. It could be anything from a billboard to a postage stamp. Whereas if you had a piece of art, a bitmap, you are not going to be able to increase the size of that bitmap very far. You know how Photoshop works, right? I mean, when you work in Photoshop, it's a lot harder to make images bigger without losing resolution. Whereas when you're working with a vector file, you don't have that problem because it's no longer bitmaps, they're vector objects, and they can be made big or small as much as you want. So do you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing here? In this case, the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm working in Illustrator and I don't want to bring bitmaps in. So I'm trying to turn the images that I have into vector art to work in my file. So do I make sense with this? Do you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing? Do you have any questions at all? What I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to give you some more experience and understanding about image tracing and using the image trace panel. Because in my personal opinion, it's one of the very major areas of this program, and I want to make sure that you understand some of the major things that I think you'll find a lot of value in when you are working. So, okay, so now I've done this. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Object, I'm going to go to Image Trace, and I'm going to expand it. And when I expand it, I'm now going to turn it from that bitmap it started out as into its final form as a vector graphic. I'm going to expand it. So I expand it, and there it is. Look, it's now a vector art. That also includes this area here, this outside area. That's there. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. Watch. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go Object, Ungroup. Okay? Now I'm going to deselect it. I'm going to click again, and I'm going to drag this over here. And you see what I'm talking about? Every bitmap, every single bitmap, it cannot have transparency. So even though this looks like white and it's sitting on the stage, this area is the white area of the bitmap, and I've removed that. So I hit delete, and now what I can do is this. Watch this. I can come over here. I can create a shape. I can put color into that shape. I can go Object, Arrange, Send to Back, and watch this. You see what's happening? That can now is silhouetted, and whatever goes behind it, you can see. There's no white around it. It's a silhouette of a can. Okay? You guys think you can do that?
Yeah, now.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So that's the Rudy Tooty can. That's what I did with that one. All right. And I'm going to show you, I want to show you another one. The, let's see, the pepperoni pizza. Let's try the pepperoni pizza because that's interesting too. Let's go File, Open. And there's the pepperoni pizza. Now remember, this is image type JPEG. Remember, we're starting off with JPEGs. And we're going to ask this program, Adobe Illustrator, to take these JPEGs and turn them into vector graphics. That's what we're trying to do here. Click this and choose Open. Once again, there's my graphic. Let's go, let me minimize this for a second. All right, move it over here. Let's go View, Zoom Out. Now you can see that this image is huge. See how big it is? Very big. That's the same size artboard as we used on our can. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Artboard tool because I want to make the artboard fit the art that I have on screen. So I'm going to click that and drag it over, drag this down, drag this over here. Okay. Select my art, and once again, what I'm going to do, Object, Image Trace, Make. It tells you this warning. You can click this. And by the way, if you want, you can click this do not show again. The reason I don't do that is because I do an awful lot of training with this program, and I like to have this pop up so that when it happens to you, if it happens to you, you don't get confused. If I were to shut this off and every time I opened up one of these things, this didn't show up, and then you went to did it, when you went to do it, you may think that there might be a problem and it might throw you off. So I leave this open so that you could see exactly what happens when you do this. You understand that? That's the only reason I don't shut this. So watch what happens now. It's going to process this, and there's my black and white. Obviously, we can't use black and white. It certainly doesn't do us any good. So once again, what we're going to do is we're going to go into our image trace. And what's interesting about this is that you don't have to worry about doing 600 different things. Most of the time, you're going to do one of two things. And I'm going to show you after I do the daisy, because I want to show you the daisy. The daisy is really interesting because it's almost a mirror opposite of what we're doing here. Fascinating to watch the daisy work. So we'll do that. Then I'm going to go and get you a simple piece of black and white art so that you could see the other end of the spectrum with this. But the key here is that this here is a piece of full color art. So black and white doesn't make any sense. So we click on this and we go to color. And we'll let it process. Pretty good. That's its first attempt. Pretty good. The problem is that, you know, I don't know exactly how I want these details to look. As it is right now, things tend to look a little blocky still. So I'm going to see if I can figure out how to make them look less blocky and more natural. I think if I try bringing my paths down lower, let's try bringing my paths down lower. Let's see what effect that has on it. I'm looking for my major clustering and what it does. That's those areas of color like that. See what I'm pointing at right there? I'm looking to see what they do. All right, so that didn't do much. Actually, it smoothed the edge out. I don't like that. So let me go back up to high. Let's see what, I didn't like the way the edge goes here. Let's see if that helps. It's a big image, so it'll take a little longer to process. Okay, so can you see, guys, that I got a little bit more roughness to the edge? You see it? See, what you have to realize is a piece of pizza, when you look at a piece of pizza like this, it should appear rough at the edges. It shouldn't be smooth. It should be rough. And all that roughness is going to make this look more like a picture. Do you understand what I'm going for? How I'm looking at this? Do you understand why I'm making the choices I'm making?
Yes.
So I got the corners here. My feeling is that if I go less on the corners, I may even get a little more roughness here, and that might benefit me. So let me try bringing the corners down. And let's see what it does, see if I like it. If I don't like it, I can just adjust it. I like it. It doesn't hurt anything. So really what you're doing with these advanced settings is you're just playing with the paths, which will basically manipulate the paths, either making them more extreme or less extreme, the corners of the paths, and now the noise. I don't know. I'm going to try putting a lot of noise into it, 100 pixels of noise. Let's see what that does. I'm trying to make this look as much like real pizza as I can. Good. I like it. I like that. What do you guys think? Does that look pretty real?
Makes me want some pizza.
Yeah, really. So, you know, here's the thing that's incredible about this. You're looking at a program, a vector program. You're looking at a piece of art, which is essentially a photograph. And you're taking that photograph and you're turning it into a piece of vector art. You don't have to draw it. All you have to do is get it, bring it in, put it into your program, and run the process of image trace to it. And you can come out with a vector piece of art that you can use any size that you want. And it looks very realistic. I mean, it's realistic to the point that you really have to know what you're looking at, I think, to understand that that's not a real piece of pizza. Now, for instance, if it looked like this, let me drag this way down to here. If it ended up looking like this, watch. And that don't look too bad either. Look, I brought it down all those colors. That don't look too bad. But to be honest with you, if it looks this good, if you can make this thing look this good and turn it into a piece of vector art, why wouldn't you do it? You see my point? And just because I got this photograph from an online source, I mean, if you had somebody photograph pizza like this, you could do it with your photograph as well, especially if it's a good photograph. Okay, so there's my pizza. Again, I'm just going to come up to Object. I'm going to go to Image Trace, and I'm going to expand it. There it is. I'm going to go Object. By the way, just so that you know, you probably do know this, when you create this piece of art, it automatically gets grouped. So when you auto trace it, it automatically groups everything. So what you want to do is you want to go to Object, Ungroup first, because obviously you do not want that white area there, and you're going to select that white area. You can tell the white area is selected because you can see the path and the path out here. And you're going to hit Delete. Now that's gone, and all that's left is your pizza. So what you want to do with this pizza is very carefully, you want to come in here. You want to very carefully come in here, and you want to click, and you want to marquee everything there. And you want to go, I think I got it all. Let me try it again. I'm got to make sure I get it all. Grab all of it and go Object Group. If you don't group this, okay, if you don't group this, each one of these little things are a piece. Watch when I grab this direct selection tool. If I click that, I can, that's the wrong tool, Control Z. I want the group selection tool. That's the one that I want. If I click on this, I can move it out there, and I start ripping my pieces apart, Control Z. I don't want to do that. So by making it a group, now it's a group. So do you think you understand that? Did I explain that to you clearly enough? Do you think you guys know how to work with this? I will tell you this very frankly. You're going to eventually come to see how important this piece of technology is in this program. This can do amazing things for you if you know it's there and you know how to use it. That's my goal here, is to get you guys to know how to use this. Okay, so here's my daisy. This is the last one I'm going to show you. This is my daisy. But let me show you the original daisy. Let me go File, Open, and let me go in and get the original daisy. Here's the original daisy. Open. Okay, so there's my daisy. I'm going to make the artboard the size of my daisy. I got to do that first. All right, let me make the artboard the size of the daisy. You guys know about the artboard tool, right? Have you ever worked with this artboard tool before? Whoops, I missed it.
Not in the settings. I haven't.
Okay, well, there's the artboard tool right there. The only thing that the artboard tool does is when you click on it, it enables you to take your artboard and it enables you to make your artboard bigger, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to make this artboard a little bit bigger or smaller, depending upon what you need. That's what this artboard tool is for. It's new. It's not something that goes back very far. It's a new tool, but it's nice because it's right there. And anytime you want to adjust the size of your artboard, you just get your artboard tool and you're good to go. Okay, so that's a really good one. All right, so now I got my daisy. Now, believe it or not, this is almost the exact same thing as we were doing before, except that the daisy's sitting against black instead of white. So, you think to yourself, well, is that going to be a problem? It isn't going to be a problem. You know why? Because all of this is black. The only area that's not black is that little corner right there. All of this is black out here. So watch how easy this is to do. Object, Image Trace, Make. I get this, which has kind of an interesting look. I mean, you could use this, I suppose, but I mean, I don't know how you would use it. It certainly isn't what I'm going for. I'm going to go for color and let it process and make itself into its color. There it is. Pretty good so far. I'm going to pump the paths up 100%. I'm going to pump the corners up 100%. And what it's doing essentially is it's just giving me refinement to my detail. And the noise, I think I'm going to try bringing the noise down first and see what that looks like. And then I may end up changing it. I don't know. Let's see what noise looks like with more, though. That might not be right. Let's go up and see what happens with that. Yeah, but let's try to go right to about the middle. Let's see what it does in about the middle. I'm trying to get the right look. I don't know. I think probably higher. I think I'm better off going higher with this. What do you guys think? Any idea? Any suggestions about this? You like that? How about that? Is that about right? You like that look? Anybody?
The edges of the petals are a little rough.
Well, they should be. They should be. They shouldn't be real smooth. Remember, this is a very delicate petal. And if you smooth it out, let's see if I smooth it out. Let's see if I get any. I think they probably should be a little bit on the rough side. Well, that didn't really smooth it too much. Let's try bringing that down. I think this is going to go too far. Yeah, see that? I don't know. Do you like it smooth like that? I don't. I think I prefer mine with some character. I don't like smooth lines. I like mine to have more character. That's better. I think I'd want to go higher. Probably close to high. Better. I think I'd still go more. See, I'm looking for detail on the petal. I want more. I'd go higher. I could probably live with that. Let me see what happens if I go to corner more. I just want to try this one more time. See what it does. I don't know. I think we look at it again one more time. Low. Okay, what do you think? Somebody? Should I keep it low or more? What do you guys think? Is this good enough? Do you think this looks okay? I personally think it's all right.
Looks fine to
I'll
me.
leave it low.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. Object, image trace, expand. Once again, it's all expanded. The interesting thing is, take a look at the black. Notice that all this black out there is just one big piece. Okay? So again, object, ungroup, deselect, click the black, hit delete. The black is gone. There's a little bit of crud here. Delete that. It's gone. Now, there are a couple of little areas of black in here. If I wanted to, I could click on some of them and make some of them go away. If I really wanted to work on this a little bit, I'm not going to bother. I mean, I think you get the general idea. That's a pretty convincing looking flower, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Select it all. This is an important part. Object group. So now I have my daisy, my pepperoni pizza, and my rowdy root beer can. So let's go to my, let's close some of these things. Pepperoni final. Where's my, well, I got a lot of stuff out here. No. Close that. No. Close that. No, these are the ones that I just created. And I'm going to double click on this love to open love up. Okay, so there you go. Let me close this. So now the only thing that you haven't seen me do is convert a simple black and white drawing. So let me go to the file menu and let's go to open. And I'm going to find this is my, the reason I'm choosing this one's very clean. Can you see how clean that one is? Very clean against the white background. You see what I'm talking about when I say clean? Can you see that one's got gray and red and all kinds of crap in it? Can you see that? It's a more difficult image. I'm going to open up the more difficult image. So let me go File, Open. Okay, there's my image. And this image is not that big, by the way. This is another problem. It's not that big. Okay, so now here's what I'm going to do. With it selected, I'm going to go to Object. I'm going to go to Image Trace, Make. I get this. So obviously that's not good enough. So now I have to start playing around with my settings again. Black and white is the way I want to go. Threshold, I can try going up in threshold. I start getting more detail. I got too much detail, so I need to be right about here. That's probably about as good as I can get. But I can play around with the paths and the corners and the noise. So let's try bringing the paths up. That's it. Not going to give me any more than that. Okay, here we go. Did I go grayscale? Let me see. I don't think I did. No, I went black. Black and white. I'm wondering why this is not coming out quite as good. Let's try going to black and white again. Let's go to threshold. Let's bring the threshold down. Maybe that's what it was. Nope. Go up. Yeah, it's better. It's a little bit better. No, it's got to be up. That's got to be up. Just trying to remember where I got it to get that nice one that I got. I got a pretty nice one. Bring it back. You just got to play with this one. This one was a tough one. Woo. Yeah, this one's hard. This one's giving me trouble tonight. I don't know why. I got it good last time. You can see when you go back to my image. See, the love actually looks pretty good. I guess it's not much. I guess it's not that much better than what I got there. So it really, when you're playing around with something like this, it's really just a matter of playing with it until you get something that works for you. I think this is the direction I'm going in here. There we go. Now we're getting there. Now we're getting closer to it. That's probably pretty good. There we go. Okay, so that's probably as good as I'm going to get. All right. So what I'm going to, so again, look, threshold. I got kind of a low threshold on this, in this particular one. The paths are set high, 100%. The corners go down to about 81%, and the noise is rather on the low side. But you saw how much effort it took for me to just play around with these sliders. See, with this, there's no incremental rules that I can give you. I can't give you any incremental rules with this, and each image is different. Now, one of the things that I will point out to you is that why I'm having trouble with this image, there's two reasons that I'm having a lot of trouble with this image. Reason number one is it's against a gray background. It's not against a white background or a black background like the other ones were. If this one was against a white background, it would probably be a lot better. It also has text that runs over top of it. And thirdly, this image, if you remember the other images, let me just zoom this out for a second. Go view, fit artboard and window. Here's my artboard. Look at my artboard. See how small this is? That's a tiny image. My other images made me make my artboard bigger. Do you remember that? The other artboards on the other images, I had to make them bigger to fit the art. This is a tiny piece of art. This illustrates my point. When you're doing something like this, you're always trying to get the biggest piece of art you can get, because the smaller the art, the more trouble this program is going to have producing detail for you. So I want you to keep that in mind. This will work for me. I'm going to go Object, Image Trace, Expand, and I've got this expanded. And now I'm going to go Object, Ungroup, and delete this area here. Okay, there's also this crud over here. I'm going to hit delete. There's also a bunch of white in here. So what you might do with that is, because watch what happens when I take this thing and I make a color background. Let's make something in color here just for the heck of it so you can see what I'm doing. Hit OK. Oh, and by the way, I have to go to color, window color. Yeah. Oh, color here. Here we go. Change it from grayscale to RGB. That's why if this ever happens to you, when you make something and you think it's supposed to be color, you have to convert it from grayscale to RGB. So there I've converted it to RGB in the color panel, and now it's color. Object, arrange, send to back. So you see what happens is even though I threw away all of the white outside, there are white elements inside the art itself that are not connected to the outside background. They do not get selected. They do not get thrown away. So what I would do with this is I would click on it, one of them, and go up to the select menu, and I would go same, fill color, and you see how all those colors get selected? I hit delete. They're all gone. And now I have just the black art. Actually, there's one piece here. No, I got it. It's all gone. There it is. Okay? Hit delete. And there's my piece of art. That's how you do the other side, which is the black and white version of this. You guys got any questions about this? Did I show you anything tonight? I hope to God I didn't waste your time. Did I show you anything tonight that gave you something new to learn?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you like this?
Yes.
Yes. It's
This
very
is-
helpful.
Yeah, this is really very cool stuff. And again, why I'm showing you this specifically is because I think if you take a look, if you go back to my love.ai, okay, you'll see what I basically did. I took all of my elements here and I created all these elements by virtue of getting vector art. Now, you see this boot down here and these people? How did I do that? Let me show you how I did that. Go back to my, this one here. And I'm going to select this whole thing, object group. I don't think I have to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to move them up here. I'm going to go file place. All right, now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get my skate and I'll hit place. So there's my skate. Boom, there's my skate. Okay, so what I'm going to do with my skate is this. Again, object, image trace, make. And you can see that comes out pretty good. If I want, I can come in here. I can play around with this a little bit. Maybe I can make it look even more detailed. Let's see what we get. We play with it a bit more. Bring this up like that. Threshold. Let's see if we drag the threshold up. I think probably better here. Does that look good, you guys? I think so. Object. Image trace. Expand. Now, object. Ungroup. Deselect it, select the outer edge, hit delete. Okay, so now I have my two people and I have my boot. And I have my two people sitting in the boot, something along the lines of this. So what I basically do here is I just find my proper positioning, which would be maybe like that. Let me see, let me go back to that and see. Yeah, that's actually pretty close, isn't it? Okay, so it's pretty close. The only thing is I think some of this boot gets in the way up here. So how do I deal with that? I click on this, object, hide, selection. And then I come in here and I grab my rectangle tool and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw a rectangle right about to there. Okay, so now I have a rectangle sit in front of my boot, correct? I select them both. And I can do this one of two ways. I can either get the shape builder tool and I can click this, all right? Or better yet, what I want to do is I want to go edit undo. What I want to do actually is, I think probably the easiest way to go is to go to Pathfinder. And then just see the one here, this is the unite, which would make them turn into one piece. This one here is the minus front. Minus front will make the piece that's in front knock the piece that it's covering out on the back. Does that make sense? You guys ever work with Pathfinder?
Not really.
No.
Okay. Well, okay, so you got two pieces of art here. You got this piece of art. Let me first of all get the regular tool. Edit, undo. Edit, undo, merge. I don't want to merge it. You got two pieces of art. You got that piece of art, you got that piece of art. This piece of art was made first. And if you remember, whenever you're working in Adobe Illustrator, whatever you do first is beneath whatever you do next. So this was the first thing. This is the second thing. This thing is sitting, the second thing, which is my rectangle, is sitting in front of that boot. So I can merge them together, and by merging them together, they all become one piece. That wouldn't help me. This one here, if I click on this, the object that's in front, which is that guy right there, is going to clip away that piece. You see the piece where it's overlapping there? It's going to clip that piece away. Now watch. All right? It didn't do it. You know why? Because I don't have them both selected. Select them both. There. Okay. I didn't have the bottom one selected. You have to have them both selected. Now you go Object, Show All, and I can now take my characters here, and I can bring my characters down, okay? And actually, probably have to bring it down a little bit more. Okay, that's probably pretty good. There. And that's how I got those guys sitting in that boot like that. Now you can see I got her hair cut off right here. How I dealt with that was I basically came in here, I got the pen tool, and I clicked, and I came down here and I clicked and I dragged to create a shape that sort of suggests hair. You know, I come around here and I click and I drag something that sort of suggests hair. Something that sort of suggests hair. I'm not doing a very good job of this, but I think you get the general idea of what I'm doing with this. Done this, done that. And now I got something that sort of fills that hair out. I know that's a terrible job. I did a better job with this, though. You see how I did a better job with that one? But to get the general idea, and then what you do is you adjust it. You get it where you want it. You get it right where you want it. I want it to be about here. Let me move it up a bit. There we go. That's good. Maybe over one. There we go. There. And then what I would do is I'd select those two. And what I can do with this is, since those two objects are going to be merged together, I would now click on the Unite, and those pieces now become one piece. Now, one more thing that I could do here if I wanted to is I could create a little rectangular shape, and I could come over here. I could draw a little rectangle like that, and I could even move that rectangle over, and then hold down the Shift key and select both of these, and then just hit the minus front. Whoops, Control Z. What's going on here? Why is that doing that? Let me try. There we go. Why is it doing that? Is that because that's a separate piece? Hold on. Object, ungroup. Let me just see something here. Yeah, delete that. That's the problem. There's an extra piece in there. So I can select those two. Now it should work. There. So all I wanted to do is get rid of that little nub. There was a piece in there. So now I can take this and bring this back over here and position it where I want it, which would be somewhere like about like that. Okay? And I can move that in. And now I got something that looks pretty good. Now some little weird little thing up here. I don't know what that is. Let's hit delete and get rid of it. Okay, so that's how I made that thing there. The rest of this is just basically, go back to here. The rest of this is just basically taking the elements that I created. And the only other thing I think I'll show you is, let me show you how I made this. As a matter of fact, let me use my other one here. What, did I not do it? I thought I did. Oh, I didn't set this one up. Let me just show you how I created my my roller skating thing. I'm going to get this out of the way here, and I'm going to get this out of the way here. Okay. Now, how I created those lines of text there, what I did was I selected this heart. Okay. I copied it, edit, copy, and I edit, paste in front. So now I took that heart, copied it, and pasted it in front of the heart that's in front and the heart that's behind it. I'm going to come in here now. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and the Alt key, Shift and Alt. Why? I want to make this heart smaller, but from the middle of the heart. Hold down the Shift and Alt key, and I drag this in until I reach about that point right there. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change its default colors to black and white. So now what I have is I have this line here, which is the heart. What I want to do is I want to turn those lines into guides to put my text on. So how I do this is basically, you see the eraser tool here? Nested with the eraser tool, I don't know whether you know this or not, the eraser tool, there's scissor tools and there's knife tools. Now, frankly, I could use the eraser tool if I wanted. I could come over here and I could click and I can just drag along here and, oops, you know what? It's not. I got to actually object, lock, selection. I think this might not work on paths. I think it might only work on fills. Let's see. No, it doesn't. Control Z. Okay, so this is going to do it. What I want to do then is I want to get my scissors tool and come over here, and I want to cut right about there on that path. Can you see how that little anchor point appears? That means the path's been cut. Then I'm going to come over here, and at about this point here, let's go about here, I'm going to cut there. Now when I deselect this, watch what happens. I click on this, I can delete that. Okay? So what I've done is essentially I've cut that piece of the path out. Now watch, I'm going to get the same tool, the scissors tool, and I'm going to come down to about here, and I'm going to cut it there. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to cut it there. So now I've cut this thing, and I select this, hit delete. I now have that curve there, and I have that curve right there. This is what I'm going to use to type on a path. That's essentially what this is, type on a path. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this text. I'm going to go edit, copy, okay? First of all, I want to go to the Windows menu, and let's go to paragraph. Let's see if we can find the paragraph. Type paragraph. I just want to make sure that I got this thing set to center align. I do. All right, so I copied this. Now, in order for me to put text on a path, have you guys ever done text on a path yet? Any of you?
Yes.
You know that there's a text on a path tool, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I click on the type on a path tool, which is right there. And I come over here and I place it over top of that line and I click and I get that cursor and I go Control V and now my type is on that path. And the only thing that I have to do now is I have to take these little lines and I have to drag these little lines down so that I can get the text properly situated on my line, okay? And if I want, I can come up here and I can start off by changing the color of this, which I actually have no color, so I'm going to actually apply white to it. Let me double click on it. I have to do it another way. Double click on it. Oh, geez. Let me click on this and select it all. And let's go to white and black default. Let's remove the stroke. Okay, now I got white text. Okay, so now what I got this thing like this, I can come up here and I can start increasing the size. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And there you go, guys. That's how I put that text on that path. And I'll do the same thing over here for you. I'm going to click on this, select it all, edit, copy, okay? Get the type on a path tool and click on that path and Control V, paste. And with the selection tool, there's a little line right there. And if you click on that line carefully, you can drag that line all the way up, giving you access to the entire line. See, if the line for the end is here and the line for the other end is here, this is centered. Now all I have to do is select the text, get the type tool to select the text, make it white, start off by doing that, make it white, remove the stroke, okay? And then I can come in here and I can start increasing the size, 13, 14, 15, 16. What did I make it, 16 or 17? Does anybody remember? What was this one?
14.
Was it 14? Okay, so let's go back. 16, 15, 14. No, I don't think so. I think, let me just see. I don't think so. That was 18.
17 there, yeah.
17, 16. Let's make it 16 because I don't think I can get 18 on the other. Let's go back to 16. There we go. That's good. 16 is good. And now here we're going to select this. And this is 14. Let's bring it to 16 and we should be good to go. 14, 15, 16. There. Okay. So again, I'm trying to do my best to make this as easy as possible for you to understand. When we work on things like this, you know, we ultimately want to go in and find images. Now, what's great about this whole thing is when I select this, I want you to just see everything here is a vector. Every single thing on here is a vector. So if I wanted to, if I had to go and make this thing like 40 inches tall by 40 inches wide, I could make this 40 inches by 40 inches, and however good this looks, that's how good it would look when you make it that size. Any questions about anything that I did?
No.
Did it seem reasonable? Can you do it, do you think?
Easier than I thought at first.
Uh-huh. Are you going to be able to remember it all?
Sure.
Great. I didn't show too many things. I mean, I really didn't. Tonight I kind of kept it rather simple. I covered basically the tracing, and I covered type on a path in this particular case. I also showed you Pathfinder, which I think Pathfinder is a really good thing too. It's a very important thing for you to know. So really, that's it. I pretty much am done. You guys can spend the rest of the time asking any questions you want. If you want to ask me anything, please feel free to do so. I'm done. Everybody good? No questions? No anything?
No. Thank you.
Okay. So again, if you remember what I told you, I will try to answer your call. I will answer your email very quickly. I probably will be available tomorrow night in the Blackboard Collaborate, and I will be there Saturday night. And if you want to come in, if you have trouble with anything, if you're working on something you would like to see, you'd like to show me what you're doing, to give me an idea of what you're doing so I can kind of get a critique for you before you submit it, or you need me to maybe suggest some way to move ahead, whatever. I mean, it doesn't make any difference to me. Whatever you need, come in and see me, and I'll be more than happy to try to help you out, okay? So if everybody's good, I guess I'll see you all next week. Hopefully I'll have you back here next week. Next week, let me just quickly go over what we're going to do next week because we still have a few minutes. Next week, what we're going to be working on, let's go to week 2 real quick. We have 2 things. We have poster and trifold. The poster, let me open this up. There's 2 things that we're going to work on. We got a walking map. Here's the walking map. And by the way, just so that you know, this walking map I didn't actually produce myself. My friend, my very good friend and colleague, Simon Phillips, did this for me. Now, the reason I knew about this was that Simon had come into me several times to the Blackboard Center and was asking me to help him with things. And I saw how well he did this. And when I knew I had this class and I realized I was going to use this poster, I called him up and I asked him if he would mind sending me his AI file of this poster so I could use that as a demonstration aid because he did such a beautiful job with it. This is really, did a really nice job with this. So one of the things that you're going to be doing is you're going to be working on this map. And let me close that out. And let me open up the Walmart poster and walking map JPEG replace. Let's see which is missing here. Let's go to week 2. Week 2. Hold on. Poster. Images. I think that might be it. Replace. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so this here is the actual assignment. The assignment is very much like this week's assignment. It's a poster. The major difference between this is a walking Walmart poster. Now, the copy that you see here, I picked this copy up from the file that was supplied to us for the trifold brochure. So I pulled out pieces of the copy from the trifold brochure to create this poster. I'm going to show you how to do that next week. And then the other thing I'm going to show you is, yes, let me just quickly open up InDesign real quick. No. Let me open up InDesign real quick, because then I'll show you the trifold brochure. The other assignment for next week will be the trifold brochure. This will take a minute, so bear with me, please. Here we go. It's opening up. And we want to go back to week 2. We want to go to trifold. And let me double click on trifold. Okay. Okay, this trifold, what I'm opening first here is, I did it by mistake. I hit the wrong file. There is a trifold template I'm going to supply you with, so you guys don't have to actually do the trifold. I'll explain all this to you next week. But at any rate, I'll supply you with this file right here. It's an InDesign document which gives you an outline of the trifold. And as soon as it opens, it'll take a minute. It'll open and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Then I'll open up the walking Walmart trifold and I'll show you how I did mine. And this is what you're going to be doing next week, is creating this trifold. This program that we're working in, will be working in, is InDesign. This is not Illustrator. This is not Photoshop. It's InDesign. This is your trifold template. I will supply you with this. There's your template, okay? And I'll explain it and I'll supply it to you so you don't have to actually produce it. Now, let me just quickly open up my trifold brochure. We're walking Walmart. Give me a second. Here it comes. There. Okay, so this is the trifold and the pages. So this is the outside. This is the front cover. This is the fold over. That's the back page. And this is the inside 3 pages. These are the inside 3 pages. Okay? So this is mine. I will explain how this is done. By the way, did any of you guys work on trifold brochures for any other classes?
Yes.
So you kind of know what they're all about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you shouldn't have too much trouble with this. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to tell you how I think it should be done, and I'm going to let you take it from there. Okay? I'm done. You guys can go if you want, or you can ask me any questions that you need to. I'm done. I'm good for the night. Thank you for showing up. I hope you come next week.
I'll be here next week, just a little late.
Okay, no problem. I look forward to seeing you then. Have a nice weekend. Don't forget, you need me, look me up. I'll help you.
Okay, good night.
Good night.